Okay. Welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. My name is Lance Ash, and this is
Bonnie, his wife.
Jane, his wife. We don't want to say that though. It's my mother's name. Okay.
That's disturbing.
Anyway, so I recall reading a long time ago a bit of advice from Anton LaVey, where he said, if you're having an argument or disagreement with someone that's a friend of yours or someone you love, turn your attentions towards something that you both dislike or hate, and you'll find immediately that all differences are resolved. So we were going to talk about, and we might still, movie and TV memories or references, but I got an idea. Let's discuss stuff that we are both upset about mutually. So,
The year.
well, the year sucked.
Yeah,
And
2020 sucked.
And there's still 2 weeks left. There's time for California to tumble into the sea, as Steely Dan put it. And
Trump to follow Flynn's advice to bring the military out and take over the government.
or occupy certain states.
God almighty.
And but as also, aliens could land and declare, we've been watching you, and you're all a bunch of pissants.
Idiots. I believe the word is idiots.
And also, certain relatives have offered
Stupid advice.
stupid suggestions as to various courses of action that I could take to relieve stress, but they really don't understand the situation or situations. Anyway, so now let's let's discuss something very briefly here.
What is that?
Okay, Martha Plimpton.
Oh God, not Martha Plimpton.
Bonnie thinks that she's weird looking and that I am and was off my rocker to ever think she was cute, but she was cute, and she still.
And one of your friends agrees with you.
Yeah, a friend of mine at work is like, oh yeah, she was cute as a bug, and and I don't think that women think that men want a glamour model. Oh, that's what they want, and so I have to aspire to that.
Under a centerfold.
Yeah, some men are like that, but and then there's other guys that are like, oh, she'd make a cute girlfriend, or somebody that would be a pal that you can sleep with, and that's basically it, So, and that's when I was, God, I don't know how old I was when she first hit the scene, but God, that was a long time ago. Parenthood, that's the first movie I saw her in.
Was she in that Goonies movie?
I think she was. I never saw that. That's a touchstone for a lot of people.
My God, how was it? Oh.
I never saw it. There's so many kid actors in that later went on to do other things, but I never saw it, and so I don't understand the constant reference to it that people make. But yeah, I don't know. I still have sort of a.
Oh, wasn't she in Cape Fear too?
Well, I never saw that either.
The remake, yeah.
I never saw that either. Was she in that?
I think she was the daughter. I think.
That's not my kind of thing to watch. That's just looks depressing. Oh, speaking of which.
Depressing?
No, well, depressing is that new Frances McDormand movie where she's
Nomad.
Yeah, Nomadland, where she's just a homeless drifter.
Itinerant worker.
Oh, I don't know how they were allowed to film inside of a Amazon factory unless they mocked all that up.
They mocked it up.
I don't see how they could possibly. That was just so elaborate and so extensive of a set. I don't know how they did it.
They probably went into a FedEx warehouse or a UPS warehouse and used some of their machines.
I don't know how they could do that either. But anyway, I had no idea about this Burnt Orange Heresy movie that Mick Jagger's in, and we saw like a minute and a half long trailer for it, and he looked really fabulous. That's the role he was made to play, that very, cultured,
Rich man.
yeah, cultured rich guy who doesn't give a shit about amoral. Amoral, I think, is more correct. I saw a minute and a half interview with him talking about his role, and he described it as a small part, but it just looked perfect for that. My God, he would have been 76 when they filmed it, and anyway, the thing is, so Bonnie comes in my room and says, "Come here, I want you to see somebody," and you'll recognize her immediately. And Martha Plimpton was in a part on an episode of Fringe, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's Martha Plimpton." And I said, "Is she playing the same?" She played a sheriff in the episode, and I said, "Is she playing the same sheriff role that she played on the other show?" "What other show?" And I had apparently seen a piece of that episode, the same piece, at work. And I'm just flabbergasted that people at work would just randomly let that play in the break room, because it's just not the kind of thing that people at work would watch. It's funny that our son Peter mentioned that Orson Bean had died this past year, and that he was a regular guest on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, because I had just been reading an old National Lampoon piece about how to write a Johnny Carson opening monologue for the show, and they were talking about what a cookie cutter format it is. I think Mad Magazine did a parody of that too at one point. It got me to thinking about watching that show. And do you remember? I know you weren't there. Bonnie was a year ahead of me in school. So the teachers at the school we went to were contractually banned from going to see movies at the theater, because people might see them going in and wonder, what kind of movie are they going to see? And apparently some of them refused to watch TV as well. And one of the teachers in class one day said that he didn't normally watch TV, but he was visiting his sister, and he stayed up and watched the Tonight Show with her. And he said, "Johnny Carson told the filthiest joke I've ever heard."
How?
Now think about that. How filthy could it be?
It couldn't be.
This would have been early 80s Tonight Show. How much could he possibly have gotten away with saying?
Find out what the subject matter was?
No, he just said that in passing, and we were all like, "Oh."
Was this Jack?
Yes, it was. And oh shit, that reminds me, I was going to mention something else. Oh, Bonnie said I should talk about
your parents' response to movies when you were growing up.
Yes.
Why you didn't get to see timely movies or certain movies because of dirty language.
Well, my parents, my dad especially, were terrified that we would go see a movie in good faith and it would turn out to be full of just horrible language.
So, tell us about the most famous time your father drug you out.
Well, there were two times. My cousin, I have an older cousin, girl cousin, who used to babysit us for some reason in the summers, I guess. And she said she had seen Airplane, and she said it was really funny. So later that day, my sister and I told just run it, you're fine. Told my parents, "Oh, well, she went to see it, so it must be okay," because she was really goody. And they're like, "Oh, okay." So we go to see it, and of course there's a bunch of double entendres and sex references in the movie. And there's that one scene where everybody's freaking out and that girl goes across the screen with her top off. So we get out in the car. My sister and I sat separate from them for some reason, I think. And we got in the car after the movie, and my dad was like, "Oh, I almost took you out of the theater. That was just, it was unmitigated filth." So a day or two later, we're being babysat again, and we told my cousin, we went to see Airplane, and she looked at us like, you did? Like, oh my God, what have I wrought?
Oh God.
So the other instance that happened was we went to see E.T.
Yes, E.T. What a scandalous movie.
Because of the scene or the line where Elliot calls his older brother penis breath, that made my father almost take us out of the theater because it was just beyond the pale.
Why would somebody have penis breath?
Yeah. And
what's oral sex, Mommy?
They were so weird. Oh, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before.
Star Wars?
Well, we'll tell. I don't know about that. We'll tell whether or not. But when VCRs first became widely available, everybody was talking about VCRs, and my dad was very intrigued about getting one because it would mean we could watch movies. He was always about movies. Whenever we went, cable wasn't available in our area, and he was always, enthusiastic about when we went on vacation and stayed in a hotel where they had cable. Oh, we could watch movies. Oh, old movies. That was just, oh my God, yes. So one Christmas we got a VCR. The family got a VCR, but we didn't have anything to watch on it. So one of my uncles let us borrow a big cardboard box full of VHS tapes.
Bobby?
Yeah. And we get them, and my dad is staring into the box like it's Pandora's box that's been opened, and oh, what horrors might lurk inside. He's staring at it like, I don't know what these are. I don't know what these contain. It could be, oh my God, could contain anything. So my sister is sort of looking over his shoulder, and she points at one of them and goes, and it was the John Carpenter remake of The Thing with Kurt Russell, and she points at that one and she says, I saw that at Amy's house. It was pretty good. And my dad looks at her suspiciously and he says, any bad language? And she's like, maybe a little, not too bad, I don't think. So we're watching it, and it's motherfucker shit, every 5 minutes on average. And he whipped in the middle of the movie. He whipped around and looked at my sister and said, "Catherine, this language is terrible." And so that's a little taste of what my childhood was like. Anything from you?
Well, I want to know about when you saw Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay, I think we've mentioned that on the show before, but I'll tell it again.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Okay, in 1977, I was 7 years old, and Star Wars was the movie. I've told this before, anyway, and it was just such a phenomenon, and people that I knew, people on TV,
My stepdad went to see it 18 times.
There are people on TV going, I saw it 27 times. Yeah. I saw it 49. I saw it 116. And I haven't seen it once. And it literally drove me crazy. Third grade.
I remember standing in line. And the line went all the way from the movie theater down the alleyway and all the way down through the shopping center where we were at. And there could have been a couple hundred, and they had
So
movie theater after movie theater. It was 6 or 8 theaters, and all of them were showing Star Wars. There's so much demand for it.
The whole year it's being shown, which is unheard of today. And it had been out so long that it got down to the drive-in. And so finally, my parents announced, we're going to go see Star Wars at the drive-in. And we went to see it, and it was really dark. You could barely make anything out on the screen. But they all fell asleep. My parents and my sister fell asleep in the car. I stayed up and watched the whole thing so I could finally say I've seen it. Now, flash forward 4 years to 81 when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. And again, don't go see it. Don't go see it. There are games and books and coloring books and puzzles and action figures all about the damn movie, and I see them, and I've pieced together a lot of the plot just from looking at those materials. Now, the last day it's in town at a regular theater, the brother of the babysitter cousin told my father, it's really good, you ought to go see it. So we go see it. And I thought it was just wonderful. So we're walking out of the theater, and I said to my dad, that was fantastic. That was just unbelievable. And he said, yeah, it's pretty good, but it'll never be better than Star Wars. And see, the funny thing is, if he hears this episode of the show, or if I was to bring that up, he would dismiss it. Oh, you make these things up. You misremember everything. I remember everything in detail. That's a nice looking Subaru over there, that little miniature station wagon. Anyway, what was your favorite TV show growing up?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Seriously?
When I was very young, my favorite TV show was $6 Million Man. I had the doll and the replaceable arms. One of the arms had a hinged door that contained a gun, like a laser gun inside of it. It had rubber roll-up skin so that you could pull the electronics in and out. And anyway, later on, I'm trying to think of a show that I just had to see, couldn't miss.
There was a show that I dreamed about for years. It was Land of the Lost. The sleaze stacks and everything like that haunted my freaking dreams.
Me too. They were really scary. Being like 5-6 years old. And then there was the guy who played the father quit the show.
So and he goes off without his kids.
And he's replaced by his brother. And there was an episode explaining it where the brother tells the kids, don't blame your father. He had a chance to go home and he took it.
Then why didn't he take
What?
it?
So you came to replace him. Why didn't he come back with, a rifle? But anyway, it was a dumb show. Dumb show. All right, I think we're approaching the limit of the show, so that's about it. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.